All those troubles you had with me in the past, man, they're all behind us. I'll work on it. I'll be better, baby. But you won't.
Is it recording? Are you recording? See, I have to turn you around just to see if you're on. You've seen all my cinematics on this channel. They've been, for the most part, made with the a6300 or my Pixel phones. I've had a great experience with it, but it's time to put you away, man. You've done well. It's just time for a new camera, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm getting rid of the Sony a6300 and kind of my reasoning behind it and what I kind of hope to replace it with. And throughout that, you'll kind of understand my pros and cons of the Sony, which I'll talk in more detail about that in a future video, because I do love this camera, but as I'll explain, it's time for a switch. Here in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and what am I doing up here? About an hour and a half from Richmond, where I live. From the title of the video, you can probably tell I'm getting rid of the Sony. So this is actually my last day with the Sony, and I figured what better opportunity to make a short little video kind of explaining why I've decided to get rid of the Sony. It's been a great camera. It's definitely been a great camera, and I've shot a lot of things with it. I've learned a lot using it. It's what really helped me get into videography and to really develop a passion for it. But it is an older camera now, and I have had it for a couple years, and obviously there are a lot of new things that have come out recently that have encouraged me to kind of look into the market and see what other, this is actually a perfect timing. So I'm selling the camera, and here's the guy asking about it at where I am. He's an hour late. And that really pisses me off. So I specifically picked this time out. Today's actually my birthday, and I had planned it out so I'd get home in time to hang out with my family and friends. And that's not really gonna be possible right now because this dude hit traffic and didn't wanna give me a more accurate ETA sooner. So instead of rescheduling the day, I'm here. A lot of new cameras are out on the market now. A lot of full frames mostly, like obviously the Sony a7 III, which would be the next logical upgrade to the a6300, and for a long time I was actually really considering getting that. The only thing is it's kind of out of my budget and it's not really worth it to me. Yes, it's gonna be better in low light, it's got stabilization, much better battery life, but it's a larger camera and it's coming in at $2,000 with a kit lens, whereas my entire Sony kit right now, with the a6300, the kit lens, the 50mm, and what was that other lens I had? A 35mm f1.8, a manual lens like light dial, or 1.7. All great lenses, and it really served my purpose as well. None of the benefits of the Sony a7 III really justify the $1,000 price difference in my opinion. So instead I began looking for other things within the $1,000 kind of price point, which is kind of what I'm gonna be selling this Sony kit of mine for after negotiating $850 for everything, which I was originally asking for $950, $850, that's still fair, except for the stupid wait that I now have to do. With that, to get to the point, I was looking at more of the APS-C cameras because that's more of what you're gonna find in this price budget. You've got the new a6400 out now, and I didn't want to stick with Sony. It would feel like I was selling my camera for basically the same camera, because the a6400, it's got a new articulating screen, but aside from that, and I guess a new processor in there, so it's gonna be slightly better, but ever so slightly. Nothing too innovative there. It wouldn't feel like I was really making a good step forward and actually getting something new. It just feel like I was kind of losing. The Sony camera, the biggest flaws with this, and I'll talk about that in a future video, are what really pushed me to want to get a new camera. And began to catch my eye was Fujifilm's line, and Fujifilm recently announced and will be releasing in 9 days the X-T30, and that's actually what I pre-ordered. I pre-ordered that. They had a really good deal, which included the kit lens, and I got their 35mm f2.0 lens with it for $1,000, or was it $1,050, or was it $1,100? In my opinion, I'm getting a brand new camera with basically very similar specs to the X-T3. The X-T3 does 4K 30 up to 200, and it also does 1080p 120 frames per second. The Sony a6300 is great at 4K, but it overheats. Its 1080p is pretty trash. Its 120p is really soft. So I never really shot in 1080p. I'm thinking, and the Sony also has a max bitrate of 100, whereas again, the Fujifilm is 200. So I'm thinking that's gonna be a worthy upgrade, and hopefully that turns into better image quality. It also has a 26.1 megapixel sensor, whereas the Sony is 24.1. So maybe that means better stills as well. I was never really happy with using the Sony a6300 for images for whatever reason. I just never really enjoyed it. Even with the 50mm, I just wasn't too impressed with it. Likewise, the colors on the Sony, some people will say they hate it and they love other cameras like Canon and Fujifilm. I wasn't a big fan of it, but that wasn't the biggest selling point to me. However, Fujifilm, after looking at their film stocks, their film reproductions, it just looks so incredibly cool in my opinion. And I'm actually excited to try those out. So I would say there are like maybe 3 main reasons why I'm deciding to sell the Sony. The first is opportunity cost. It's an older camera and it's just going to continue to lose value even though it's a great camera. It's about time. This is about the right time to sell it while it's still relatively unreplaced. There's still some demand for it before another generation like the 7000 series comes out and it just dramatically drops in price. The other reason is new technology on the Fujifilm. So it's got a newer sensor. It has some better value in that obviously it's a newer camera, so it's gonna hold up its value a little more. And the third thing is it actually improves a lot on the Sony in that it's coming in a similar size, but it can do a couple things better. It's got longer battery life. Hopefully will be a little better in low light because of the cleaner bit rate and the fact that, I forget what it's called, but like backlit illuminated sensor. And I've seen samples of the X-T30 compared to the A7 III, and they were pretty good. The A7 III is still like the champ in low light, but the X-T30 still held its ground pretty well up to like 6400 ISO, which past that, I wouldn't even want to go. Like on this Sony a6300, I don't like to go past 1600 because after that, I'm noticing a lot of grain. That and the new color profiles that I'll have with the Fujifilm are really exciting. The fact that it's a new camera overall, I'll put that as number 4, because every time you get a new piece of gear, you have to learn it. You understand its limitations, and that way you know what you can and can't use it for to get the best possible video or image quality out of it. So that's something I'm actually very excited for because I kind of got bored with the Sony and I haven't been using it as much, and I think this combined with my recent move will spark a new, it's not so much an interest, but like a reason to go and shoot something, even if it's the same location. If I feel like I've been to that same location, just going back and shooting it again with the Fujifilm and just seeing how those results are is something that I'm actually pretty excited for. And if I could go back and just say one more thing that I think the Fujifilm is going to be great for is, even though it doesn't have an articulating screen, the screen itself is better in that it's touch, which I wish this had, touch to focus. Likewise, there's no recording light. So right now I could have been talking for 5-10 minutes and not realize that I've been recording, even though it looks like right there to the like bottom of the S of the Sony logo, it looks like there should be, that light should be illuminating, telling you, but I guess that's just for the flash. The Sony a6300, I was actually gonna make a video before the Fujifilm X-T30 was announced, and I was gonna say that I think the the a6300 is still the best value 4K camera that you can get right now. But I don't think that's true. If you're really on a budget, you should probably get, what is it, the Lumix G8, the Lumix G80, or the GX85? Is it the G85? One of them, but they have, one's more of a budget one. I think it might be the non-X version. But that's got an articulated screen. It's micro four thirds, so it's not APS-C, so it's not gonna be as good in low lights. It's a 16 megapixel sensor instead of 24.1. But you can get a really good kit with that for like $500 now. So if you're just starting and you're gonna be mostly vlogging and it's in daytime and things like that, you have that flip out screen, it's really good. Stepping up to an APS-C, the Sony is still a good value if you can get it used for like, I mean, you can find them for like $650, $700 with the kit lens. So that's pretty good. You can get for $900 the X-T30 without any lenses, which is pretty good. I mean, I'd do that. I don't think the a6400 is good value. Again, the same camera with the kit lens and a few other upgrades over the a6300. Don't get that. I'll probably make a video on that. Don't upgrade from the a6300 to the a6400. Definitely not worth it. Makes no sense. I'll be curious to see how it compares. I wish I could hold on to this a little longer so I could make like a side-by-side comparison. But what I will be able to do is actually tell you my thoughts. I found the hype to be worth it. Like, was it worth dishing out an additional $200 selling everything to buy the Fujifilm, you know? It's something I'm looking forward to. I'm excited for it. And I'm gonna share that journey with you guys. I hate that I'm shooting this in a car right now, but I don't wanna head out and miss my Facebook Marketplace drop off, even though the guy is a little late. I mean, still about 20 minutes away now. Ironically, this has already started to heat up. Nice job, Sony. The a6300 loves to heat up, and it does. Well, I just tried to film it overheating. Talking about, ironically, it's overheating, and then it shut off on me. Don't know why I'm even surprised. I thought it would come through for me and be like, you know what, man? All those troubles you had with me in the past, man, they're all behind us. I'll work on it. I'll be better, baby. But you won't. It's time to pass you on to a new owner. I appreciate all you've done. Like I said, I had a joy. But right now, it's time to start my new journey. Later. What does that look like? I can't tell. I can't tell what it looks like because you don't have a flip out screen.